Welcome to the latest encounter of the K-Tec Racing Clio 182 Championship. We find ourselves here in Corby at the Rockingham Speedway, a place that combines a fast oval section with a tight, twisty and technical infield section. 23 cars are out this weekend, 3 races are ahead of us, so let's get into the action. I'll hand you up to our commentary team and Andy McEwen.
Thank you, Anthony. Yes, here's how the grid lined up for race 1 of the weekend. It's Mark Barmer and Jack Kingsbury on row 1 ahead of Don de Graaf and Patrick Fletcher. Then it's Ross Borman and Andrew Tibbs ahead of Simon Donoghue and Matt Digby. Dave Hitchin and James Sundler round out the top 10 ahead of the rest of the field as they file through 22 identical K-Tec Racing Clio 182 Championship cars about to do battle around the Rockingham International Super Sports Car Long Circuit. Lights out, away we go, and it's a good start made from Mark Barmer from the outside of row number 1. Here comes Pat Fletcher though up the inside as well. Oh, it's 3 abreast. It's all getting very physical indeed there. Jack Kingsbury trying to come back from a front row starting position. He dropped back initially and then started to make his way back forward, on board with Simon Donoghue as they fan out down towards the Dean Hairpin for the first time of asking. Barmer in the lead. Can he get the car stopped? Just about. It's 3 abreast for second place though around the outside line. That was Andrew Tibbs, I think, trying to make the outside work down at Dean. It might just work because it gives him the inside line for Yentwood coming up next, which he goes for at the inside. Oh, collides with the side of Jack Kingsbury, who gets elbowed out wide. Already a very, very rough and ready start to this race. The tail enders rather more sedately make their way through. They're Danny Ruff towards the end of the field, but the lead contenders are going at it hammer and tongs immediately. So Barmer leads the way. Back into second place now is Andrew Tibbs, and under pressure now from, I think that was Don de Graaf back up the inside down at Kirby. Up the hill we go, on board with Simon Donoghue again as we work our way towards Gracelands for the first time. This is the sort of racing we've become accustomed to in the K-Tec Racing Clio 182 Championship over the years. It is one of the closest one-mate championships in the country, and you can see this in this fight that's going on for second place as again Tibbs is having to go defensive. There is, it is indeed Don de Graaf, the black car in third, and Pat Fletcher, former champion, drops down to 4th place here in the early going. Well, mind you, that is where he started, but he had a better start than that and then just lost out in the first few corners. Down towards the Brook chicane we go, and it looks as though Mark Barmer is just starting to make a little bit of a break at the front of the field, taking full advantage of the dicing going on behind him. Lots of curb taken there by Don de Graaf as he tries to get in the slipstream now. Of course, these cars not the most aerodynamically shaped, so they do punch quite a hole in the air. Therefore, as they go across the start-finish line, you'll start to see the cars bunch back together again on the run through the flat-out turn 1 and into the braking zone at the Dean Hairpin. Through they go. There's Matt Digby in the green number 97 car, doing battle with, I think that's David Hitchin behind him. Who's going to make the move on the brakes down towards Dean? It's Pat Fletcher looking up the inside of Don de Graaf for 3rd place. Don locks up the brakes. Fletcher's going to come through surely. Makes his way through. Don de Graaf's car bouncing on the suspension as it goes through the corner. But Patrick Fletcher, the championship leader, works his way back through. Now remember, he comes into this round just 4 points clear of Ryan Polly in the championship. But Ryan had a bit of a disastrous qualifying session. Only managed 14th. So we'll watch for him as he starts to try and work his way through the field. Jack Kingsbury there getting roughed up a bit by Simon Donoghue through Chapman Curve. Then dishes it straight back out by easing Simon onto the grass. Simon's all arms and elbows trying to hold on to the thing. Simon is the yellow and black car with the white front bumper, bouncing his way through Kirby, and Simon is 5th place in the championship. We've had 4 races so far this year, 2 at Alton Park, one of which was won by Patrick Fletcher, the other by Jack Kingsbury, and 2 at Silverstone. Patrick Fletcher again took a race victory from Ryan Polly in 2nd place, but Kingsbury and Fletcher are the only 2 drivers who have yet to finish off the podium. Well, at the moment Fletcher is just about hanging on to a podium position in 3rd, and Kingsbury there, car number 3, is only 5th, so that could all be about to change this weekend. Back through the Tarzan hairpin. Nice battle going on further back there, but back on board with Donoghue as he turns towards Brook. And just struggling in such evenly matched cars to make much headway through the field. Through the left and right at Kirby, then back onto the pit straight, and Donoghue goes up the inside there. That was a physical move again attempted on Jack Kingsbury, who won't have appreciated that. Jack is 3rd place in the championship coming into this weekend, and only 6 points off the championship lead, and really wants to try and keep up the momentum that he's got from his double podium finish last time out at Alton Park, Silverstone, excuse me. As I said, he's one of the 2 drivers yet to finish off the podium. The midfield scraps come through. There's the Scott Edgar machine going through in the middle of that group. Here is Hitchin though up the inside. Oh, that was aggressive, and he gets past Donoghue. So Donoghue goes from the predator to the prey there. He was trying to get past Jack Kingsbury, ends up losing a place to David Hitchin. Tries to come back at him down into Yentwood. There's a bit of paint trading between the 2 of them. Donoghue goes to the outside line. He's really late on the brakes. Now, he didn't turn in last time. Does he go for it this time? Oh, they made contact. Donoghue off onto the grass, into the air he goes as the front end of the car digs in. It's pulled the front bumper off. It's given him a front right puncture as well. And it has ended his race. Unfortunately, someone else was caught up in that. That's not Hitchin, though, is it? That was... Who was that getting pulling off to the side of the road? There was another car that got delayed in all of that. There's the contact. I don't think the initial contact did any damage. It's this trip sideways through the grass for Donoghue that puts him out of the race. You can see the car digs in just there. That pulls the front right tyre off the rim and damages or pulls the front bumper loose as well. So Simon Donoghue's race does come to an end, unfortunately. As for Hitchin, he has continued. There was another black car that pulled off. Still, Hitchin is fending them off. So back down through the right-hander they go. Richard Preece, I think that is, you can see in the background, who has had a win. In fact, he was our most recent race winner at Silverstone last time out, the yellow car. But he's had 3 podiums as well. So really consistent season for Richard Preece, but he, like Ryan Polly, just not found the pace here at Rockingham. It seems to be one of those circuits that certain drivers just can't quite get their head around. I think the drivers that like the flat-out high-speed circuits tend to struggle a little bit at Rockingham, and vice versa. Right, leaders down at Dean for what may be the final time. I haven't seen a last lap board yet, but we may well be getting towards the end of the race. And it is nose to tail between Mark Balmer and Pat Fletcher, as it has been for a few laps, though, in fairness. Fletcher's not really been able to find a way through. He's just been sizing Mark Balmer up for the time being. Patrick, as the championship leader, won't want to take too many risks, especially because he will know that Ryan Polly is unlikely to score big points out of this race. Jack Kingsbury, we know, is only 4th, and so they are his 2 nearest championship rivals. He looks up the inside down to Kirby. Balmer had to come across to cover, which he did nicely. Has that compromised his exit speed? Looks like it might have done, and so Patrick Fletcher gets in the slipstream down towards Gracelands. No, he's not going to be close enough though, I don't think, as they turn into this quite quick left-hander. Mark Balmer, remember, is 4th in the championship and only 15 points behind Fletcher, so this would be a valuable race win for Mark to try and catapult himself properly into championship contention. Mark Balmer yet to have a podium this year, remarkably. He's been on the fringes of the podium, though, and consistently so, hence the reason that he's not a million miles back in the championship. But this would be his first podium, and therefore, of course, his first race win of the season. So down into the chicane they go, and Balmer it is who has the advantage, and I don't think that Patrick Fletcher is going to be able to carry enough momentum out of the chicane to make the move before the line. So Mark Balmer is going to come through to see, I believe, the checkered flag this time around. Yes, there it is, and Mark Balmer will win round number 5 of the K-Tec Racing Clio 182 Championship. Patrick Fletcher scores some good points in second. Third place is Andrew Tibbs, and 4th for Jack Kingsbury. 5th was Matt Digby in the end, ahead of Ross Borman and James Sundler. Kevin Condon, Gareth Tansey and James Gargan were next in line, but David Hitchin had dramas on the last lap. Then it's Edward Falkingham, Brian Passmore, Scott Edgar, Gary Baden and Danny Ruff, a whole series of drivers who retired from the race in the end, and what a dramatic race it was. You can see there Hitchin was excluded from the race, and so too Richard Preece.
Mark, firstly, congratulations on the win. It wasn't an easy race, especially in those last few laps.
Yeah, no, I got a good start, got away for the first 5 or 6 laps, and then the last 3 laps Patrick was reeling me in and giving me some hassle, trying to get me on the key overtaking points on the track. Luckily just held him off to the flag.
Welcome back to Rockingham, where race number 2 of the weekend is about to get underway here for the K-Tec Clio Championship. Fastest lap times from race 1 means that Pat Fletcher and Jack Kingsbury make up the front row ahead of Mark Balmer and Andrew Tibbs. Don de Graaf and David Hitchin, neither of whom were classified at the end of the first race, are next, ahead of Ross Borman, Simon Donoghue, Matt Digby and Kevin Condon rounding out the top 10. Ryan Polly there, though, did not finish the first race and therefore starts right at the back. As for the second time this weekend, the lights go out and we are away and racing. It's another good start made by Patch Fletcher and an even better one by Mark Balmer. Oh, look at that. That's the front bumper from Simon Donoghue's car that he's lovingly replaced after he lost it in the first race, and it hasn't even lasted 1 corner this time around. But we're side by side for the race lead with Balmer on the outside, Fletcher on the inside. The blue machine trying to join in the fun is Andrew Tibbs. It's all going to get very congested down to the hairpin. Fletcher gets the lead but gets sideways. Tibbs up the inside of him comes Jack Kingsbury. They're 3 abreast, coming out of the Dean Hairpin for the first time. On board there with Mark Barber in 4th, but that's now 3rd as they turn right. Fletcher and Tibbs are still side by side for the race lead. Well, race 1 was fairly energetic, and they've kicked off race 2 in equally energetic fashion. Back on board with Ryan Polly here towards the back of the field. Championship contender coming into this round, but it's all gone wrong so far with that non-finish yesterday. He really could do with a better result here today. So it is Fletcher that leads the way, Tibbs 2nd, Barmer 3rd, 4th position looks to be Kingsbury. Yes, it is, from I think Don de Graaf rounding out the top 5, another driver who didn't finish race 1 this morning, was not yesterday, beg your pardon, and we'll be looking for a better result this time around. Through Gracelands go the leaders then. And Fletcher not getting away, as we sort of expected really, from Andrew Tibbs in 2nd place. Up the inside there, further back goes the 97 car and Matt Digby. That's a nice move made. Gets past the car in front, which was David Hitchin, I believe, that he found a way past. Into 5th place now is Matt Digby, who is 5th in the championship, gained a championship position actually last in the last race at the expense of James Sundler. Back through the Brook chicane we go there at the end of the first lap, and it is a 3-car breakaway. Matt Digby there, the man on the move. Look, he was up the inside of Kingsbury there for 4th position. Back across the line, did he get it? No, he didn't. There's a slippery surface flag out, which is what he gets called, but actually it's just a flag notifying the drivers there's something on the track that shouldn't be, and that's something I'm imagining is Simon Donohue's torn to shreds brand new front bumper, which will not go down well with Simon. I'm sure that he has to replace that again. At least the car's been able to keep going this time. There he is. You can pick him out fairly easily now, the one without the front bumper attached. There are 2 identical cars there running together, but his is the one missing its front bumper. It's all very congested at the front though. No one really getting away. I said it was a 3-car breakaway, but actually that's not really been the case because the rest of the field have used the slipstream around the banking to close back in. Back with Barber in 3rd. That is Andrew Tibbs, the fast-starting Andrew Tibbs in front of us in 2nd place. Slight gap back to Kingsbury in 4th, maybe not a huge one. There are the 2 teammates. The 24 car in front is James Sundler, and behind him is his teammate Simon Donohue. Oh, who slows coming out of Kirby. What happened there? He ran out onto the grass, and all of a sudden the car seemed to slow. One of the drivers he benefited. And still Tibbs is holding on. Now watch out behind, because Jack Kingsbury there is right with them now. This is a 3-way fight for the bottom steps on the podium. It's all allowed Patrick Fletcher to run off into the distance, but it's a 3-way fight for 2nd as they turn back through Kirby. And Mark Barber, in his eagerness to get past Andrew Tibbs, can't afford to forget that Jack Kingsbury is right behind him, and he and Kingsbury are only 2 points apart in the championship, in Kingsbury's favour for 2nd place. So Barber and Kingsbury really are going to go toe-to-toe here to try and fight over what is quite a significant position both on the road and in the championship. Barber again tries the over-under, can't quite do it, but what brilliant racing this is, and it's fair to say that Matt Digby is not that far back either. Back through the Brook chicane they go, and Mark Barber turns through the left, the right, and then flings it back to the left hand. You can see the fairly substantial jolt you get as you hit the banking and back up onto the main straight. Barber once again will sit in the slipstream. He's watching his mirrors a bit more now though, but Kingsbury's dropped back a little way. I think we're going on to the final lap of the race now, so Mark Barber running out of options rather. Patrick Fletcher, already the first 2-time winner of the season, he's going to become the first 3-time winner if he hangs on for this one. But for 2nd place, what is going to happen? Andrew Tibbs again defends the inside line, which means that Mark Barber still can't get past him. Andrew got his first podium in the first race, so too did Mark Barber when he won it. So both of these drivers are having their best weekend so far of the season. They'd hate it to be ruined by contact. Back into Chapman, that's where Barber carries a little bit more speed into the corner. Previous lap he used that to get alongside. This time around he stays single file. There is Patrick Fletcher dropping down into Kirby. You can see by the body language of the car he's not really having to push all that hard anymore, just bringing it home, save the tyres. They'll have to use probably the same set of tyres all weekend. I imagine they've got grooved tyres, these cars of course, which is why they move around a little more than a slick shot car would. And that also means the tyre is going to last a little bit longer. Right, Barber and Tibbs, there's another half chance on the inside, and Tibbs is all out of shape through Gracelands. How on earth did he hang on to that? Down to Tarzan. Now this is really the last genuine overtaking opportunity. Is Barber going to throw it up the inside? No, he goes to the outside line instead because Tibbs was holding the middle ground. It's all about the exit now, down towards the Brook chicane, but even if Barber gets alongside, you guarantee it's going to be the outside line, not the inside line. Down towards the chicane, Barber can't get alongside, and I think he's probably had his last chance now. So Patrick Fletcher turns his way through the final chicane and is about to take his third victory of the season to extend his championship lead now quite comprehensively. Across the start-finish line, it's victory in round number 6 of the championship for Patrick Fletcher. Second goes the way of Andrew Tibbs, and third goes to Mark Barber. Jack Kingsbury is fourth with Matt Digby fifth. Then it's Simon Donoghue, James Sundler, Don de Graaf, Ryan Polly from the back to ninth. That was a great drive. He just about got ahead of Scott Edgar towards the end. The rest of the field filing through: James Gargan, Jay Daniels, Gareth Tansey, Kevin Condon and Gary Bayton, ahead of Richard Priest, Brian Passmore and Danny Ruff. Edward Falkingham and Stephen Langton were non-finishers, so too was Ross Borman, whilst Dave Hitchin, for the second race in a row, excluded from the results.
Patrick, firstly, congratulations. It was a busy race, but to come away with a win, you've got to be happy.
Yeah, happy with that. First off, I'd like to thank everyone who's helped me with my car this weekend, getting a first and a second in the first 2 rounds. No, it was a good race. Started on pole. It's always a bit iffy whether it's going to be the best starting position on this track because it's actually on the outside of turns 1 and 2. But I managed to get a good start. Mark came flying around outside of turn 1, but managed just to keep the lead going into turn 2 into the Dean hairpin. And then from there, I was just trying to keep him ahead of Tibby. It was, I think his tyres went off a little bit at the end, which gave me that little bit of a gap.
Race number 3 about to get underway here, and it's Patrick Fletcher and Andrew Tibbs again on the front row with Mark Barber and Mark Digby row 2. Then it's Jack Kingsbury and Don de Graaf ahead of Ross Borman and Simon Donoghue. Ryan Polly needs to make a top 10 starting position count this time around to keep his championship hopes on track from 9th place on the grid. Again, a full 22-car field about to tackle the Rockingham Motor Speedway for 13 minutes plus 1 lap for the final time this weekend. The red lights go out, away we go. Who makes the best start from the front row of the grid? It looks like Fletcher's got his nose in front. It's another decent start from Barber from the outside of row 1, but Jack Kingsbury, who's been the lightning quick starter all day long, goes around the outside as well, makes it 3 wide through turn number 1. And look at the 97 car, Matt Digby, he might make it 4 wide before we arrive down at the Dean hairpin. Let's see. Well, more with Edward Falkingham a bit further back, but it's Fletcher that leads the way. Who comes out second? Barber's all out of shape in the middle of everybody. This could end in tears. Oh, through goes Tibbs into second. He runs wide, and Barber comes back up the inside again. So it'll be Fletcher from Barber. I think there's contact. Tibbs ends up on the grass, and that slows him down. He's back up the inside there, down towards the right-hander, and he retakes second place. Fantastic stuff to start off this race, and it has kicked off well and truly once again, but it is Fletcher who holds on to the race lead. Falkingham is further down the order here as we're on board with him through Chapman Curve, but at the front of the field it is very, very tight indeed. Look at that, Tibbs second, Barber third, 4th place for Kingsbury. Looks like Matt Digby is the green car rounding out the top 5. Yes, he is, ahead of Ross Borman, who was a retirement, remember, from the previous race. But again, it's fastest laps from that race that decided the grid for this one, so he gets away with having got to start inside the top 10 again. Back through Gracelands though, and is Patrick Fletcher going to be able to escape as he managed to do in race 1? Remember, it was Tibbs and Barber dicing over second place through the middle portion of the race that just allowed Patrick Fletcher to pull a bit of a gap. At the moment he's not been able to do it. As the race goes on, we'll see whether that happens. And Falcon there losing position down at Tarzan hairpin, and car Jay Daniels sitting up the inside in the 31 car. He's back alongside down towards Brook, but that will be the wrong side of the road, I think. Yeah, back on the inside goes Jay. Whoops, and there's a bit of contact because up the inside of Jay Daniels was the number 42 of Richard Priest, who vanishes as quickly as he appeared, but there's more contact. That may well have been from Priest as they turn out onto the pit straight. It's all getting very physical here at the start of race number 3. You can tell it's the last race of the weekend. They've only got a few weeks there before they're back out racing at Pembrose, so they do need to watch the cars a little bit. There's Don de Graaf, he seems to be slipping down the order slightly. Now, was that a bad exit from the chicane, or is there an issue with that car that's been plagued with mechanical issues all season long, really? He's not had the rub of the green that he'd have liked. Leading 4 cars, though, on top of each other down at Dean hairpin for the second time. So thus far, Fletcher has not been able to escape at all from Tibbs, Barber and Kingsbury behind. Digby and Borman dicing over 5th place further back, which is holding them up and they're losing touch a little bit with the leading group. Turn their way back through Chapman in towards the pith path. And with the slipstream effect around here. Fletcher is going to have to rely on the battling behind, holding everybody up to allow him to escape, and this is exactly what he wants to see. Tibbs on the defensive, with Barber trying to go around the outside down in towards Kirby corner, and Jack Kingsbury there in 4th place. Well, he and Mark Barber are now tied for 2nd place in the championship, so they've dropped to 19 points off the championship lead, so they both could do is beating Patrick Fletcher. Oh no, that's wide. Oh no! Oh no! That's Jack Kingsbury. And how on earth did that car not roll? Jack Kingsbury from a podium position. Well, he's going to try and rejoin. Surely the car must be damaged. I mean, there's bodywork damage definitely. No, there's a front right puncture as well, and he has to pull off the road. But that was a huge moment for Jack Kingsbury. And how on earth that car did not go over, I will never know. I've never seen a car come so close to rolling and yet not actually roll. But that's what Jack Kingsbury did there, and he's very lucky to get away without a more serious incident there. That means that now there are just 3 cars fighting in the front. Here it is, he just outbrakes himself by a mile, hits the grass sideways. Look at this, it just sort of pivots on the wing mirror, and then, well, 10 out of 10 for style. That was some real acrobatic stuff there from Jack Kingsbury, but for the man who was tied for 2nd place in the points coming into this race, that is a disaster. Well, Mark Barber therefore re-inherits 3rd place that he did have before Kingsbury got it back off him. It looks to me, though, as though Andrew Tibbs is starting to reel in Patrick Fletcher, the race leader. So this ain't over yet. We're about to go on to what I think should be the final lap of the race. And Patrick Fletcher is going to have to drive a pretty much inch-perfect lap, because one mistake and Tibbs, will be there and he'll be going through. Last lap board is being held out, so one more lap around the longest of the configurations here at Rockingham, the International Super Sports Car Long Circuit, which is becoming more and more popular with various championships that run here. It just adds an extra dimension to the circuit with that little link down at the Piff Paff and Kirby. Patrick Fletcher would have been hoping that this was a rather shorter lap, because I think he is about to start feeling the pressure from Andrew Tibbs and therefore Mark Donoghue behind, who will have seen that issue that befell Jack Kingsbury. Oh no, it's all gone wrong further back. That's Donoghue, Ryan Polly involved again, and David Hitchin, who's yet to be classified in a race this weekend. He's not going to finish this one either, because look at the state of the front right corner of that car. It looks as though Donoghue's car has sustained damage as well, but Ryan Polly will continue, albeit having lost several positions, I'm sure. And what's looking like being his best race of the weekend has now gone by the wayside, unfortunately. Right, leaders out of Gracelands, or towards Gracelands, I should say, half a lap to go. And, well, Fletcher's just built up the margin again now slightly over Andrew Tibbs in 2nd, so it doesn't look as though Tibbs is going to be able to really mount a challenge. That means that Patrick Fletcher is on for his 2nd win of the day and his 4th of the season. He'd already pulled a 19-point championship lead over Mark Barber and Jack Kingsbury, while with Barber down in 3rd, he looks set to further increase the margin this time around. Down to the final corner. Well, Tibbs is flashing the headlights, trying to distract Patrick Fletcher. I'm not sure that's going to work, though. Patrick turns into the chicane and, yeah, picks up the apex. Tibbs is a little closer, maybe carries some real speed through the chicane, actually, so it will be, in fact, he's really carrying some speed through there. It's going to be a bit of a drag race to the line, this one, but I think that Patrick Fletcher is just about going to hold on. He pulls to the inside to celebrate. Tibbs is closing, though. Tibbs is really closing, pulls alongside and almost got there, so Patrick Fletcher wins by 15 thousandths of a second over Andrew Tibbs in 2nd, Barber 3rd, then Digby and Borman, Sundler, Condon, Don de Graaf was 8th, Ryan Polly recovered to 9th, and Gareth Tansey is 10th. Then it's Scott Edgar and Jay Daniels ahead of Ed Falkingham after their race-long dice. James Gargan, Richard Priest, Stephen Langton, Danny Ruff, Gary Bainton and Brian Passmore. Next, Simon Donoghue, a last lap retirement. So too, Jack Kingsbury, a late retirement. David Hitchin, guess what? Excluded again from all 3 races today.
Well, Patrick, dominant performance this weekend at Rockingham. Congratulations.
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank the team again for the brilliant efforts they've done on the car to get a win and a 2nd. And 2 pole positions and a 4th is outstanding. So thanks to the team.
Andrew, firstly, congratulations. You've been on the podium 3 times this weekend. Great haul of points. But talk us through that last race. It wasn't easy.
No, I got an average start. I tucked in behind Patch again. Mark was on my ass, same as race 2. Give me a couple of nudges, got sideways a couple of times. But apart from that, just the same technique, just stop it on the corner and drive out, get a bit of a gap and Just got to try and control the gap basically.